All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to ITU TV. We are here getting into episode 6 already. Man, Mike, this is this is stacking up fast.
Yeah, it is. It is. But we got a lot of information. That just means we bringing it to the people and bringing it
Yeah, we
well.
got a lot going on, man. We got a lot going on. Let's
hmm
talk crypto today. We are talking crypto. They are in a shit show right now.
Very much so. Very much so. I know a lot of people's crypto portfolios are probably looking pretty bleak right now. If you still got them, you're holding on to them. You're probably holding on by a little tiny thread.
And those that pulled out along the way, are we looking at the possibility of crypto being dead or us recovering at some point?
I mean, it's going to recover. It's inevitable that we're going to go to a digital currency some way, shape, or form. With some of the things that's going to be used within the crypto space, though, like people needed to ask themselves, what am I getting into long term? Because it's all unregulated. And, once something happens, the government's always going to want their hands in it. And so the
Mhm.
regulations needed to come. If you look at the roster size of what crypto came out with, I mean, it was thousands of different cryptos, right? I mean, look
Right,
at what ends up happening. We have like 8 major currencies. So, there's going to be a chopping block, a cutting, a roster cut at some point. Look, that's where we're at. You know what I'm saying?
right.
Stuff like that. So um it was a good ride on the way up. And if you trade in the Forex realm where we trade index values, then it's a good ride all the way back down too. But the thing people needed to ask themselves is really like what's going on here and what can crypto be used for. So I mean, there's a lot that's coming down the pipeline. It's just a matter of getting those things to start ramping up here.
Yeah, look at it. I like to look at it like this, and this is just what I've paid attention to over the years. Um, we have the first boom of the crypto market. A lot of people find out, get involved. Then we see it pull down and go for a bigger hike, more people involved at the same time that we have a pandemic going on. Okay,
Mhm.
so now we're talking what investors didn't get involved and are they going to try to come in as we make this next drop and now for a permanent time this time.
Right. And I mean, when you look at it, like I mean, all the signs were there for another drop anyway.
Mhm.
You know, so I don't know what really people were kind of thinking in regards to this. I mean, I think it was just more of like a he said, she said. Tell me, they told me to buy this. They told me to buy that. So I think it's a big learning lesson for a lot of people. Period.
Yeah, yeah. We're gonna have a lot of questions coming forward. I know people are already calling 12K, 10,000, 9,000. I've even seen at this point. And other than that, zero from the non-believers. Everybody thinks it's just gonna go back dead and
Mhm.
we're just gonna go back to the standard dollar as usual. But as we're seeing things happen in the market currently, it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good for the DXY to stay up that high for our economy. So we need some regulation to get us back involved, get us back uh, 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 to the position where we don't want to be, where we have actual China taking over as a dominant power, where we
Mhm.
have us falling back and not holding a stable enough economy to uphold ourselves in the marketplace.
Well, and my question is this: is that if crypto is the same worldwide, how does USD, like our USD, which is the standard for the currency right now, how
Mm-hmm.
does that shift into a power ranking, right? Because when that gets kind of, I'm not going to say it's going to get shut down. It's going to be removed at some point. But when we're looking at everything going towards digital and crypto side, and it being the same for every country, right? Bitcoin is
Mm-hmm.
Bitcoin either
Mm-hmm.
way.
No
You
matter
know what I'm
where you
saying? And
are.
Ethereum is
Right.
an Ethereum no matter where you are. So what
Right.
does that really do when it really? I think that actually is going to expose the United States pretty badly, if you
Oh
ask
yeah.
me. I,
Oh
I,
yeah.
I really think so. So
Too many people are aware now with all the information coming out that this was even possible has shaken the whole economic platform, right? So now people are like, who's going to be accepting these currency, who's not going to be accepting these currencies. We got countries trying to make their own currencies now. We saw what happened with USD Tether, completely bottomed out. Like it's it's a completely new way that we're going to not just exchange money, but almost live, because we're now utilizing these things in the technical space and with your NFTs now, and then you have metaverse and things of that nature. So where are we to go next, right? As an entire society at this point.
Mhm. Well, I mean, I think if people really started to look at like what's going on in the news, because it's a very fundamental type of currency as well. News affects it just like it affects the stock market, right?
Yeah.
So they kind of follow each other as investments at this point right now, which is why I say it's also very early because again, those regulations haven't come into place. We also haven't had the next thing that came that's going to be coming into place, which is the change and switch from the world with the central bank, the central banking
Mhm.
system. We're
Mhm.
supposed to be moving into a new way of doing that based on crypto, and there's 8 major cryptos. We talked about this a few times here,
Yeah.
but there's the 8 major cryptos, and I'm sitting here thinking of this like, what's the easiest way that I can explain this when it comes to Bitcoin? Because everybody's still on the Bitcoin train, right?
Mhm.
When it comes time for all this to happen, now mind you, Bitcoin isn't even listed on the ISO platform. Did you notice that, Zay?
I did. I did. Me and Byron had
Yeah.
to talk about that. Yeah.
So when I say crypto, when these regulations come through and these things start processing, and you're going to have your roster cuts. Think of an NBA team. Let's say because there's eight cryptos out there, right? The
Yeah.
closest thing is probably an NBA team with 10 people or 12 people on the team, right? Think of how many people don't get into the NBA. There's all your Shiba Inus and your Doge coins, right? Those are going to be gone. But
Yeah.
also, you're going to have to think those are going to get cut. But what happens with Bitcoin? I think Bitcoin is your GOAT that retires. That's like your Michael Jordan right now, right? But when
Mhm.
you have your Michael Jordan, right behind that, you have your LeBron James. And I think that's going to be your Ethereum, right?
Mhm.
Because Ethereum is going to end up taking over completely, right?
Correct.
And the reason
Correct.
I say this is if people think about this, like with Bitcoin, it's at market cap. What happens at market cap? You can't buy it anymore. It's at market cap. There's still small pieces you can buy out there, but
Mhm.
when it stops, it's going to stop.
Right.
And from there on, when it stops, like whoever has it, cool, that's valuable. But what happens when all these platforms say not enough people have it, so we're not going to accept it? It becomes kind of worthless at that point.
Exactly.
You're just holding on to it as a monument to say, hey, I own a piece of Bitcoin that will never ever happen again.
Correct.
So when you think of Ethereum, Ethereum has its own blockchain, and the Ethereum blockchain is so huge. In fact, they just did another merger, and in fact, they cut 99% of their energy costs for their production. Is there a market cap for
Fantastic
Ethereum?
news.
Yes, there
Fantastic
is
news.
a market cap. There is a market cap for Ethereum, but because a lot of these other ones are going to be used or on the Ethereum blockchain itself, it makes
Mhm.
Ethereum something that is never going to go anywhere, right?
Yep.
So
Yep. Use. We're
Ethereum is
talking
going,
useful.
and yeah, if there's a use for it, then guess what? It's going to be very valuable. When there's no use for it, you're not going to have anything, right?
Right.
So
Right. It's
I
one
don't know. I
thing.
don't know. That's just my thought.
No, I completely agree. It's one thing in the beginning when it was, okay, all these cryptos are out. People were just trying to get in and make a quick buck. But now we're talking about really getting into some type of solidification, some type of, all right, how are we going to make this work in our ongoing society as we get into electric vehicles and as we get into solar paneling and electric type homes and things of that nature becoming really an everyday thing of our life, sending money through the internet, everyday thing in our life. Now it's like, all right, who's going to use it and is it going to be a lot of people behind it? And then I think that's going to, especially corporations, I've always in the last couple of years just looked to what companies will utilize this as they go forward into the future. And that's going to tell you right there, hey, all right, this might be something to put a little bit into as you're diversifying your whole portfolio. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? I'm definitely not against them at all. I think if you see someone out there that's definitely going, yo, cryptos are dead, everything, dude, you might as well just stop listening to them altogether. I'm just be honest.
Yeah.
It's very important that we take it serious and know that this could be adopted and we need to pay attention to which avenue they're going to go.
Well, I mean, people see, I think it's all an emotional situation that's right now because everybody thrived on it for so long, and now all of a sudden it's
Mhm.
coming down. But they don't take the time to sit down and understand what we see, right?
Exactly.
So, would it be okay if I shared what I see with
No,
Bitcoin?
most definitely. Most definitely. Give us an outlook here that you got.
All right. So I've had this portion marked up for a while, and I'm going to start with the weekly because the monthly is the same thing. It's just a matter of more consolidated pictures, but I'm going to leave this here for you guys. This was the head and shoulders that was seen. What was it forming? This was the first one. Was this shoulder possibly right here? So I was looking at it. I think I called it in a group chat at 51,650. So it was around this area before it came all the way down, right? But a lot of people were thinking it was just going to be a higher low for it to continue up. Well, then you got to think of everything that was going on at this time. When was this? January of 22. What happened shortly after that? Inflation started taking place, right? So when inflation took place, our dollar became more scarce and a lot of people started selling off. And you had all these things in the news with China and Bitcoin and the energy situation, et cetera, which also caused us panic. Like I say, this is a emotionally based situation right now because it's only based on what we own and we decide the value. When you
Yep.
decide the value, emotions are thrown into that all the time.
Yep.
So when people start selling off and worrying, it needed to come back down. And I think at one point, this was actually when it broke, was when Tesla removed Bitcoin off of its website.
Yeah.
But all the activity that was over here, that's why I have this blue mark. So the head and shoulders that I saw could have ended technically here. But when Tesla removed it, we had the break, the retest, and then it just kept coming down. All it did is come back down and retest where we're at now, which was
Correct.
this high here back
Yeah.
in December 17, the last time it was a high, right before
Yeah.
a major break. But
Hey,
we have breaks with no retests still.
exactly. Exactly. And even currently, right, we're in that realm where it's, hey, this could be a double bottom situation on the weekly, but it could
Mhm.
also be a head and shoulders pattern if we continue forward. We're about to find out right now where we're going to go. I think
Right.
over the next few weeks, we're going to find out, hey, look, this is what's next, and hey, get along for the ride. Don't make it difficult, guys.
Well,
Crypto's a
and
pretty hard thing.
here's the crazy thing is that within this time frame that we're talking about of when we're going to decide what happens, at least with Bitcoin,
Mm-hmm.
ISO starts taking place. That's in November.
Yes, we have talked about this.
Yes. So for those that are watching this that are not familiar with ISO 20022, okay, the central banking system right now literally says, hey, if you're going to send money from one person to another in a very large mass amount, you're going to have to do it via a wire transfer, right? Or some form of a process where there's ridiculous amount of forms. And if you guys have ever been through a wire transfer, it's a ridiculous amount of time. It could take anywhere from 7 to 10 days for something to get there. So you're sitting there like, yo, you got to wire. Think of these countries wiring millions upon millions to each other. What are we doing with Ukraine? Do you think we're just sending boatloads of cash over there? No, no. So that process is absolutely crazy on the back end.
Mm-hmm.
And they're simplifying it by going to a crypto space. Imagine being able to do everything you can now, but doing it in a matter of hours rather than days.
Right. Large sums.
Right. See, and I'll tell you right now, for those that are really paying attention to this, XRP has been on hold for 2 years. And in fact, it was announced, I think it was yesterday, that the SEC has agreed to speed things up a little bit. Ironically enough, XRP is the number one cryptocurrency that is going to be part of ISO. So continue to watch XRP in the news and watch this SEC lawsuit be dropped. There's a lot of fishy stuff that went on with it. There's a lot of things that they're not going to end up pushing forward.
Mm-hmm.
So the SEC is going to end up dropping it, but the process is going to be a lot quicker now because
Right.
it has to be. It has
Right.
to be.
Here's the thing. We
But the,
talked 3 years ago. We talked about XRP being held up to end up being a big winner. long ago, when everything was going down, XRP wasn't making the moves that its partners was, right? It held low for a long period of time. We saw the SEC come out and we said, look, they're going to end up dropping this, and watch XRP become a heavy contender. So we're going to start to see, as we come into these times, right? If we see these double bottom or end up holding these positions and then going bullish after retesting these highs that have just been broken, it wouldn't be beyond me to see XRP take off.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. The only thing
Well
that I
into
say
$10,
with this,
well into $10, I'm calling easily hit myself.
I don't see it going past $3.12
Think $3 stop?
ever. And the reason why I say that is because I think that's its all-time high right now.
Oh,
And the
correct.
reason I say this is because as it gets into that perspective of using, look what happens with the US dollar, the regulations that cap that. Our US dollar the correct range and correct price of it should be at 100, right?
Correct. Mm-hmm.
So, and that's based on pennies, right? When you're looking at it right now, it looks at when you're at the. Let's show you guys this real quick. When I say pennies, right now we're talking about the DXY, which is the US dollar, at 111.40. Okay, that means it's worth $1.11 right now, but it's only worth $1.11 in other countries because our inflation is so high, it's not worth that at all. And look, it's starting to come back down. Now it's 110, right? So that means to the trader, yes, our currency is very valuable outside of this country, but in here it sucks. Our currency sucks. It is not worth that at all right now.
At all.
Which is why this is a falsified move up.
Yep.
But are correct, if you wanted to have the exact level of where it needs to be at 100. So when it hits 98, when it hits 97, or even when it drops down to where I think at some point it needs to, which is 78, that'll be worth 78 cents on the dollar, right? That's kind of how you measure these numbers on the side, right? So when I'm looking at XRP, right, and I'm seeing how valuable it's going to be and the possible regulations, I see the cap. Because look at where this is at, like, and then $1 being only worth $1, one XRP should only be worth one XRP. Like, it should be at one even.
Right.
But the highest of high is $3.12. So that gives us room for possible inflation and controlled situations where our government could actually have their hand in it. Mm-hmm. If this all makes sense, I hope that it does, because it's kind of a tricky thing to explain.
No, I understand completely.
I don't think that you're going to see anything like $5, $10, $20, $30, $40, $50, $100. I don't necessarily think that, because at that point, you got to think of how many millionaires there's going to be because of that, and they don't want that to happen.
More than the amount of times that we've seen thus far.
Right, because there are a lot of people holding on to XRP right now.
So that's an important
a lot of people
point.
holding on to XRP.
If the government has hands and ties in the XRP currently,
mm-hmm.
then we'll see them bottom it out and not let anybody, of course, see that high.
Right,
because it hasn't. I like to think, we used to think them as moving partners, right? They're kind of like, I feel like XRP, Ethereum, and Bitcoin, a lot of people kind of saw in line with SPX, NAS, and US30 in a sense. There's a time where they're all moving in sync, which we can still currently see is happening, but there's certain levels of resistance that we know XRP hadn't broken that we've seen Ethereum and Bitcoin do. Mm-hmm. Now, we're saying here that we're not going to see that replication anymore, right? So then we're going to start to see these separate from each other later down the road.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's going to be which one. So like I said, Bitcoin, I think Bitcoin is going to be the first retiree, mm-hmm. right? I think Ethereum is going to be the next one up. And I think XRP is going to be the controlled substance, right? Mm-hmm. I think that's how it's going to end up being long term. Mm-hmm. And think about this, when they sit here and they say, with XRP, like let's say it gets adopted as the currency. Like I kind of had an idea that was kind of a, I don't know, it was kind of a weird one, but it made sense. And I mean, it really still could make sense. And it is a positive for Dogecoin.
Yeah.
I don't know how if Dogecoin's on the Ethereum blockchain or it's going to be or at all, whatever it may be. But should it ever become something that has to deal with it, then yes, we could see this. Dogecoin is the only cryptocurrency that has an unlimited market cap, unlimited supply. The only one.
Wow, I did not know that.
The only one. So in that case, it would be from my perspective, it would be very intelligent to buy that crypto, right, itself, and then issue that in kind of, like we're running off the US dollar, and then they could like open the floodgates and close it as they want because it's an unlimited supply, right? It's going to just continue to back up as much crypto as possible as it continue making as they distribute what they want, right?
Right.
If they wanted full control over it, at some point, all the other ones are gonna run out. But I think there's so much XRP out there because of the whole situation with the SEC that they could still do something along those lines because it's nowhere near the market cap, even though there's a lot of people that own it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It could be one or the other. If they decide not to do something with the Dogecoin, cool, fine. I don't care. It's trash anyway. But if they do this with XRP and they actually adopt that and control it, like I say, as the controlled substance, then guess what? They can do whatever the hell they want with it, issue it. This is what your Social Security is now in XRP. You get this many XRP per month. Oh, here's your food stamps. It's now based on XRP.
Wow.
Here's your government assistance. Here it's based on XRP. But with thinking as much that's out there, that's why I was saying Dogecoin could be the better one because of the unlimited supply. You're going to end up having some point where it's going to be cut off. I don't know.
Situations like we just dealt with, right? With them pumping the market with money. If you don't have an unlimited market cap, it's going to make something like that difficult.
Sorry, I had to check on this real quick.
Oh, most definitely. We already in bullish momentum currently.
Oh my gosh, bro! The hour's not even over. It went way higher than what?
Way higher than anticipated. Way higher than anticipated.
All right. Well, you know what? Back to Ethereum. So anyway, this is what I see with Ethereum, right? And why I continue to see these things. It was the break. It's all break and retest based. When you look at Ethereum on the weekly, and this one actually follows Ethereum to a T for Kraken. If anybody's using any of these charts, Kraken is the best one. When you see a wick like this wick has to come down and be filled. So we're going to see Ethereum come down, which is ironically the 680, like 690, right? But there's a break with no retest here at 442, somewhere around there. So if that's the case, we're looking around $450 for me as the absolute lowest. $450, $440.
Yep.
Some people think it could come down in the 100s, but I'm not going that far.
Yeah, I think that's a lot to ask.
I think that's based on this right here. Yeah, see, there's 303.
240, kind of.
247. Yeah, it's like 247, something like that.
Oh man, that's 250 solid, whole QP level.
Yep. Look at that. Boom. So it could really come down. I mean, as far as that goes.
Yeah.
Right. If you guys know what this is, then you know what this is. But yeah, I mean, regardless, we have prices that need to be retested. So Ethereum still is showing its hand at coming down. It may come back up first a little bit, but we're going to see another drop coming soon.
Well, we will definitely be paying attention and looking out for where these markets decide to go. Keep up to date, whatever resources you guys utilize for crypto. We're just here to tell you what we see as far as the markets are concerned. This is not financial advice. I'm not telling you to go run and buy a bunch of crypto today at all. but we do want to be aware where these are going, keeping track of what's happening so that we can properly invest, from a smart place. Mike, I want to appreciate you for being with me here today, man, for sure. It was a great one. Getting to talk about cryptocurrencies with you, man. Catch you up after a while. So thanks again for being here. Everyone else, appreciate you coming and watching ITU TV. Those in the community, of course, you guys will see this early release, but hey, we all want to stay prepared, and I'll be glad to see y'all in the next one. All right. Say out, man. Later.
Peace.